Well, hello everybody. It has been a minute. It has actually been exactly a month since the last time I sat down before the camera. Well, hello, my name is Michelle and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio Podcast. Today is Monday, September 15th, and this is episode number 62. Well, hello everybody. It has been a minute. It has actually been exactly a month since the last time I sat down before the camera. I fully did not anticipate that would happen, but the end of summer and the beginning of the school year just got super busy, and I will get into all of that in my life day-to-day section. Suffice it to say, I am recording today on Monday. I'm going to hopefully drop this episode tonight, but if I don't, hopefully tomorrow, and then I'm going to consider that my episode for this week, and then next week I hope to get back on my regular schedule of recording at the beginning of the week and dropping episodes on Thursday. So, with all of that, I got the window open. It's, what is it, 75 right now? It's a little bit warm. The windows have been shut up all day long, so I wanted a little bit of air flowing. So if you hear some background traffic, that would be why. I do have a finished object and some updates on my projects. Although considering that it has been a full month, I don't have as much updates as you might expect or hope, but it's time to get back in the regular routine. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. So my finished object today, I'm actually quite excited to have. It is one that I had been percolating for a while. It is my Yorkshire blanket, my Advent blanket. So try to hold it up as best I can, but I will also have pictures on my Ravelry so that you can see and take a good look at all of the squares. But I had gotten, I would say, a little over, not quite halfway actually. I think there's four rows or columns, I guess. And I think I had gotten 2/3 of the way through the second column, and then it got set aside, I don't know, March? Maybe, it had been quite a long time that it had just totally gotten set aside. So it was Labor Day weekend, or no, I think it was the weekend before that. I don't know. I finished it on, what did I finish it? August 27th. So it must have been because my daughter's wedding was the 23rd. So yeah, it must have been that weekend of the wedding, just before the wedding. I just I had gotten kind of caught up in everything else, and I just had a bee in my bonnet to take it out, and I just started charging ahead. I got them all finished assembling within 3 or 4 days, and then did my border. So I'm really happy with it. Let's talk about the yarn, and then I will talk a little bit more about some of the other details. So the base yarn for the squares was an Advent that I had gotten. Oh shoot. Well, a couple went rolling. We'll find them later. This was my Grinch Advent that I had gotten from Brazos Fiberworks last Christmas. And so I have 24 squares with the 24 colors. Here is one of my leftovers. So I think when I looked it up, actually, do I still have that page up in my Ravelry here? Yeah, I have around between 6 and 8 grams of yarn left over in each color. I really have no idea what I'm gonna do with it. For the moment, it's just gonna sit until it tells me what it wants to be. But that's quite a bit. So that leaves me with still 158 grams, so 729 yards. I could do another tank top with it, couldn't I? Because that's probably about what I used to make the tank top that I finished just before this project, actually, right? So that was the base yarn, and then I went to Hobby Lobby and I got this yarn here, which is their Yarn Bee hand dyed in the Zahara colorway. think the Zahara is right there. So I believe I got 3 skeins, and I ended up using, let's get back over to the project, like 1.5. So this is what is left of the second skein. So yeah, 1.7 skeins, 169 grams is what I used to join my squares and then to do a little border. So that's the border that I decided on. I decided it has a really fancy scalloped border, and I decided I didn't really want that. So what I did is I put my notes in my Ravelry page. So I have 1 round of single crochet all the way around. And then I did a round of double crochet, and then it is the spider stitch was the 3rd round. And so with the spider stitch, you do a single, chain 2, single in the same stitch. So you can see right there is 1 stitch, a single, chain 2, single, and then you skip a stitch and then you do a single, chain 2, single. So I did that all the way around. And it just kind of, I made a nice little scallop, nothing crazy, but just a little something something. So it was just a little bit more special. I actually still have to do some photographs, final photographs. I probably should block it, although I did block all the squares. So I don't know, I haven't decided if I'll actually block it again. Let's be real, I probably won't. But I'm really, really happy to have this one finally complete. So let's take a look and see what I've been working on currently. Like I said, you would think after a full month I'd have all kinds of stuff to tell you about, but that is not really the case. But we'll talk about what I do have. So the first one that really has gotten probably the most of my attention is my, I went off of my notes, Baby Tea Leaves, I think it's called. Baby Tea Leaves by Melissa LaBarre. This is the little sweater that I am knitting for my best friend's little girl, who they have been fostering and they are getting ready to adopt. So this is where I'm at. I don't remember when I think I just barely started it in the last, like a month ago. And clearly it's a baby sweater. I should have had a baby sweater done in a month, and I do not, but that's okay. I am a little over halfway on one sleeve, and then I have the other sleeve, and then weaving in the ends and the buttons, which is good because I just got a text from my friend today, and they have an official adoption date of October 9th. So I am so happy for them. I'm super excited to give this to them. I really hope it fits. I have to confess, I'm a little bit nervous. She's a peanut, she has health issues, and I don't even think she's quite 20 pounds yet. So I may be 18-month size, but it just looks small to me. I don't know. We're headed over there this week for Bible study, so I will see if I can snag one of her shirts and take a look at it. But the yarn that I am using, here's my ball of yarn. It is one of my Yarnables yarns. It was the June colorway, and it is called Cue the Celebration, which I think is just so perfect. I love, the minute I saw the yarn, I thought the yarn looked like her. And then when I saw the name of the yarn, I'm like, it's serendipity. Like, yeah, this is definitely has to be a sweater. I'm really actually very surprised. Like, this is how much I have left. I have a lot left. And I only have the sleeves to go. So I'm a little confused because I think the pattern called for pretty close to the full skein of yarn for the biggest size. And I'm clearly not using that. So, which also leads me to wonder if it's gonna be too small, but it's measuring what it should measure. So, well, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased. Hopefully by next week I'll have this one done so I can show this off as a finished object and give it to her. I wanted it as an adoption gift, but I do think I'm gonna give it to her ahead of time. So that way, if she wants her to wear it the day of the adoption, I have zero expectation. Like, that certainly is not a condition of my, my giving the sweater. But just in case, we're Aunt Michelle and Uncle Michael, so it'll be really special. So just in case she wanted to do that, I think I'm gonna give it to her ahead of time. So that is project number 1. Project number 2 is my Spooky Girl socks, which I started August 11th is the date that I have in my notes. And this is all I've got. You can see last time I podcasted, I had just barely started the cuff. So I am almost ready to turn the heel. And the bulk of that was done this past week as we were preparing for the show that I was in and the last bit of rehearsals. So yeah, another one that I just did not have knitting time, y'all. Like, it was busy. So the yarn is my Woolen Women Fibers. This was my July box, I do believe. It must have been because I started them August 11th and the box comes towards the end of the month. So Woolen Women Fibers. It is Spooky Girl Summer, and of course that is the full skein of yarn there, and it also came with a little 20-gram mini, which I have done the cuff with, and my plan is to do the heels and toes as well. So there, that's project number 2. I do my socks, I think I've talked about it before, but just in case, I do my socks cuff down on 2 circular needles across 56 stitches, and I do an OMG heel as really my go-to sock. I pretty much only knit that if I'm knitting socks. I haven't knit pattern socks in a very, very long time because for me, socks are like comfort knitting. They're easy. They're something simple that I can just pick up. I don't need a pattern. I can totally knit the entire sock, start to finish, soup to nuts, with 0 pattern, just a pair of needles. So that's what I do. All right. Project number 3 is my Northeasterly blanket, which is what I am doing. It's the Murder She Knit club, which is also from Woolen Women Fibers. The blanket pattern is by Katy Stevens. And this was another one that sat literally the entire summer, and like, I think it was last weekend, I got another bee in my bonnet to pick it back up. So the last time I podcasted, I am still working on the July colors. So much for being caught up before school started, but whatever. So I had gotten this done, and then in one night, I did 1, 2, 3, it's getting heavy, and half of this red color. So now that I finished that other blanket, and as soon as the little baby sweater is done, I'm really hoping to put some focus on this, some focus on my Tunisian crochet, my Bahama Advent wrap. Those are the 2 projects that really are kind of left lingering. The Northeasterly, I have gotten both of my yarn boxes for August and September. I think I got one more. I think I still have October's, and that will be the last of it. I really don't want this to linger like into the new year. So hopefully by the time I get, by the end of October or early November-ish, hopefully I can have it done like it's supposed to be. That would be my goal. So that means I really need to kind of try to get caught up on these colors, but I should be able to do that now. Life is starting to settle in, and again, I don't want to dive too deep into where I'm going to land with my day-to-day, but yeah, this hopefully will be making some significant quick progress. Again, it was one evening and I did like 3 colors. So if I just sit and do it, it doesn't take me long. Like, I can probably do 1 color from winding to finishing in 30 minutes or a little less. I've never actually timed myself, but maybe 25 to 30 minutes. It doesn't take that long in all actuality. So it's just a matter of, it's not been a priority, and that's okay. But I'd like to get some progress done in this one. All right, project dreams. I am definitely dreaming of my new projects. A couple of them are a little bit more nebulous, as it were. I bought yarn back in February at Spa for a cowl, a brioche cowl, that I'm really excited to start. And the yarn is wound and everything. Like, I bought the yarn and I wound it. Like, I am gonna start this. It is gonna be quick. I'm gonna put it together and it'll be done. Bing, bang, boom. And the yarn still is sitting there wound. So I'm hoping to start that soon. I'm also hoping to start a sweater project for myself with probably the yarn that I bought when I was in New York, in Brooklyn, with my daughter in January, oh my word, in June or in beginning of July. So those are the two new projects that will kind of probably be coming down, but they're kind of still out there. The other project, however, that is a little bit closer is I had decided again that I'm going to do the West Knits Mystery Knit Along. It is called Musical, K-A-L, Music, K-A-L, Musical. And so he released that last week, I think it was. So you need 4 skeins of yarn, and you have the optional mohair dare if you would like. I'm afraid that I am going to run out of batteries. You know what? I'm going to stop right here because I don't want to lose the whole podcast if it shuts down, and I will be right back. Okay, that's what I get for not changing my battery before I started. Oh well, because it really hadn't been that long. So back to my MCAL. So we need 4 skeins of yarn, and Stephen did say that you can use like variegated and speckles, but there should be enough contrast between them. And if you're gonna use variegated and speckles, you probably want 2 more semi-solids in between, like 2 and 2, not like all 4. So those are kind of the rough parameters that he's given. So I went stash diving and I found some strong contenders, and I'm really struggling with debating. I think I've landed on a decision, but I'm not 100% sure. So let me start. I'll leave the one that I'm leaning towards for last. So kind of, most of these are my Yarnables yarns, which is what I have the most of. That is kind of just unspoken for and would kind of go together. So can we see? There we go. So that is one set I think would be really, really pretty. And I actually just pulled this skein out today as I was hunting around for, so I could sub this one in for one of these others, maybe one of the browns, to be a little bit more of a semi-solid. I don't know. So that's a possibility. I really do kind of like that one. It would be very neutral, quite wearable, honestly. But then the other one that I'm kind of leaning towards is this right here. And it's a little bit loud and a little bit fun, but I just think it would be fun. There we go. Plus it would use up some colors like this bright yellow here and this green on this side. I don't know if you can see that it's got some like neon-y kind of colors. I hope that's picking up for you. So those are colors that I'm a little less likely to use. So pairing them all together in a shawl, I think would be kind of fun. Plus, if I wanted to do the mohair dare, I have this mohair, which is actually left from last year's West Knits MCAL. And I could throw that in, there we go, in there. Now the other option, still working with these colors here, is to leave out that yellow and to put in that brown, which I also kind of like. But I think I actually really do kind of like the yellow a little bit more. It's just, the yellow just gives it a pop, which I think would be cool. And like, it doesn't really matter what order I put these in. There's a contrast with all of them, and they all go, they're all in the same tone. So I'm really, this is the strong, strong contender. The MCAL doesn't start until, I don't know, it's like October 5th or 7th, or I don't remember exactly. It's a Thursday, the beginning of October. So I have some time. I've just kind of been laying these skeins out on my desk in my office, or in, I should say the office, because it hasn't been my office. Actually, it's more my husband's office since COVID. But at any rate, I digress. I've been leaving them sitting like out on my desk, and so that every time I kind of go in and out, I can just kind of look at them and go, what do I think? So I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think they would both be pretty and they would both work. And maybe I'll set the other 4 aside and I'll do another shawl, not necessarily the Stephen West shawl, but I have to keep those in mind as a shawl possibility some other time for a different shawl. So that's not to say that I couldn't ever not work with them, right? Does that work? But They are pretty, aren't they? It's so soft. Like, it's the first time that I've really pulled a bunch of my different Yarnables yarns out. I've been subscribed now. I think I'm closing in on 3 years. So I have a lot, right? That would, over the course of 3 years, that's 36 skeins. And I did knit through a bunch of them the year that I did the cowls for all of my nieces. So I knit like 6 or 7 skeins that year. I've done several pairs of socks with them. I've been using them, so they're not strictly accumulating, but I now have a nice base and a nice range and variety of colors that I can just kind of pull for some of these more random projects. And I'm actually really liking that, because again, these are not necessarily colors that I would have chosen had I gone out and shopped for them, but they're all beautiful, and they will all, sometimes that odd color really can put into a project with some other colors, just add a little something, that pop, that life to a project. And again, it's not something that I would necessarily choose, but because I have it available to me, I have that option. So that's kind of the fun thing with that. So that's that. So this is definitely a project that is gonna be on its way, not for a few more weeks, because the MCAL doesn't start until October. And then hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I will actually have some new projects once I get some of the other little lingering things done. And we can kind of move forward with those. So it's fun and it's exciting to be able to start some new things after kind of having the same things for quite some time. I haven't really started any new projects in a while, so I'm looking forward to that. I do have a few new additions to my yarn shelf. They're kind of my subscription yarns, and since it is halfway through the month, I'm pretty confident that I am not doing any spoilers, but I have my Yarnables subscription and my Woolen Women's Fiber Box. So if anybody for some reason hasn't taken a look at theirs, this is your spoiler warning, and now I'm moving forward. All right, let's start with my September Yarnables. Oh, I should pull up the card. I forget that they don't include it in the box anymore, which I'm totally fine with. I'm all for whatever's easy and whatever is going to be a little more eco-friendly. So that is something, one less thing that they have to print, and certainly I can appreciate that it's one less thing to pack. But it means that I forgot to pull that up. Okay, so for September of 2025, it was called Shroom with a View. Shroom as in a mushroom. So we got I think this is what this is. The Toadstool Twist on Laundry Day. Friend Sheep's Woolly Wonder. So it's a dryer ball. It's sportacularly cute and eco-chic. So I'm pretty sure that's what they're describing here. And then, of course, we always get these fun little zipper pouches, of which I have a gazillion. And, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Totally forgot. Opened it up. School started. Got busy. But look at these little, they're mushroom stitch markers. Hold it up so you can actually see them. Are they not the super cutest thing? Oh my gosh, they're adorable. These are made by comacraftco.com. So yeah, a little set of mushroom stitch markers. Super fun. I'll just stick those into my stitch marker thingamajig. And then this is a little mini painting kit. And it comes with a little bit of paint. There is a Scan Me here, which I believe is going to give me some lessons on what to do. It's by Lavender Chai. And then, of course, what we really all are after, let's be real, right? The yarn. So here we go. Look at those deep colors. I hope my camera is picking it up. So these dusty purples and blues and tan. Yeah, really, really pretty. So Shroom with a View. All right, that was that yarn. Now the next thing I've got is my August Woolen Women Fiber Box. And this one, the theme is Moonlight Menagerie. And of course, you got your box here, and then it comes, it's got the little card there, and then the whole box. So it says, this August we're visiting a misty, moon-drenched forest where the creatures of dusk awaken and creativity thrives under the stars. Think glimmering eyes in the underbrush, nocturnal companions weaving through shadow and light, and a canopy that whispers inspiration into your stitches. So there's some good stuff in this box. I don't know where to start. All right, so this is the Kitchener Stitch. It's a little wooden, like keychain. I think there's like a keychain thing on the back, so maybe I could probably even hang it like off a project bag, I would imagine. I'm pretty good with Kitchener Stitch. I watched a video way back that has got it totally stuck in my head. Knit, purl, purl, knit. That's how I remember it. But anyway, that is super helpful for somebody who maybe has a hard time remembering. And then from Sam's Tiny Trinkets, these cute little stitch markers and progress keepers. Super, super cute. There is another wool wash bar in the shape of an acorn. Oh, I can smell it. It is shea butter and lanolin moonflower. I don't know what the scent, it's kind of got a slightly floral scent to it, but it doesn't say like what specifically they were trying to emulate. I have Redwoods and Moss candle. Hand-poured soy wax candle by Woolen Women Fibers. It is clove, earth, pine, and embers. Really, really nice. Oh yeah, I mean, it's a candle, but I love their candles, I do have to say. And now that we're getting into the fall, I need to start burning some of these on the regular. And this project bag is super cute. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love it. This is fun because I totally forgot everything that was in this box. I opened it the minute it arrived, which would have been somewhere around September 1st or 2nd. And that goes to tell you the last 2.5 weeks, what life has been like for me, that I truly totally forgot what was in here. So I'm having fun reopening this. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun to use this fall for sure. I have my friend's little sweater in kind of like this summery bag that I got from Haute Knit Yarns, and I'll probably keep that in here, but my next project is definitely going in this project bag. And then the yarn. Oh, these are my colors, you all. Love it, love it, love it. These purples, and again, like some gray and browns with a fun little mini. I can't tell, hopefully, like what I'm seeing on my camera screen is not really true, but I find that when I look at the video back that it actually looks better on the video, so I'm hoping that that's what you're getting. But so, and yeah, Moonlight Menagerie. So super fun. I gotta say, I'm really, really enjoying these boxes. I can't remember what September's is. I just saw a sneak peek for, I think it's November. That might be the next one because I think October, so September should be coming soon. October's, I think the signups end around the 15th. So whatever you would sign up for, like probably today, would actually be the October box, which you're gonna get the end of October, but they've released a sneak peek for November, and that one's Christmassy. So I'm excited for that. And then they always include a code. Which one is it on? For a pair of socks, for a sock pattern. Oh yeah, right here. So it's the Vanilla Bean Socks by Crazy Sock Lady. So I get to download that as well. So I'll definitely set that aside and get that downloaded. So those are, I think oh no, I have one more. I almost forgot. Set that. So you should see like what's around me right now. Like it's like everything exploded in my lap. So confessions of a true podcaster, right? I received in the mail my Woolens and Nosh Advent Sock Kit. So there's not really much to look at. This is the bag for this year. And I have my 2 ends for each sock, and then my little sock mini that I can do my cuffs and heels and toes. So yeah, so this arrived this week. So this is gonna get tucked away ever so carefully until the time is right, but it has arrived. So you all, if you're waiting, if you have purchased your Advent socks from Woolens and Nosh, I believe her name is Michelle, they are on their way. Well, that brings me to my day-to-day section, and I am not going to give you a blow-by-blow over the last month, suffice it to say. It was a lot of literally day-to-day stuff, but just a lot. It was very, very busy. Let's see, I recorded, I think, August, well, today's the 15th, and I think when I looked it up, it was like the 13th. So the week before that, that episode would have dropped on a Thursday, so the following Monday would have been the week before my daughter's wedding. It would have been the week before I started school, like my last week of summer break. And it just got really, really busy. I spent a day with a friend helping her out. Actually, my best friend, the one who's adopting, her husband and the 3 older kids traveled for 5 days. And so I spent that last day before he and the kids got home with her. The daughter that they are adopting is medically fragile and needs a lot of assistance. And so she was very nervous being by herself in case something happened. So I actually spent Sunday night and then all day Monday, and I didn't get home until probably 10 o'clock Monday night. So that was that Monday heading into that week. The Tuesday we had a team leaders meeting at school, and then I worked a good chunk on Wednesday, starting to get enrollments prepped and all of that, and even part of Thursday. And then that Friday we headed to Freiburg for my daughter's wedding, and we spent the weekend with them, and it was just magic. I have a couple of pictures I can pop in here. It was beautiful, start to finish. It was a beautiful venue, it was beautiful weather. It was just, the whole thing was just amazing. She looked amazing. It was just so sweet, and we had such a great time. My daughter and my son-in-law, they had both sets of parents walking them in. So my son-in-law walked in first with his parents, and then they had the 2, they only had each one person in their wedding party, and then it was my husband and I with our daughter, and walked her in, and I did pretty good. I got a little emotional at the dress rehearsal. I got a little emotional earlier in the day when she was getting ready. I held it together for the entire ceremony. I kept my eyes on the officiant. I'm like, I'm just gonna look at Cass. I'm just gonna look at Cass, not looking around, because if I do, then I'm gonna lose it. So I kept it together. At the other last time that I kind of got a little teary-eyed is when my husband was dancing with our daughter, the father-daughter dance. But it was beautiful. They met when my daughter was in college and she was doing the ballroom dancing club. So they were not partners with each other in the club, but they were both in the club, but did the ballroom dancing. So they had their first dance choreographed, and it was just amazing. It was so cool. So anyway, I'll stop gushing about the wedding, but it was great. So that was Friday, Saturday. We stayed Sunday, got home Sunday. We're home for an hour, and then I had to drive only half an hour away, but my niece from out of state was up and she's having a baby, and so we had a baby shower for her, and I was like just toast at that point. I was exhausted. But we went to the baby shower, and then Monday was the first workshop day, the first day back to work, and yeah, it was just so busy. Like, the start of the year is hard. It is hard. And then we only do 2 workshop days before the students join us on the Wednesday. And there was just so much to get done. And on top of that, I was starting to work towards the show. So the night before school started, I had a rehearsal, but then I still had like 30 kids that I had to create schedules for that I enrolled. And I really, really wanted them to be able to start the first day of school. I committed to that, so I was actually up until 9:30 working, trying to get schedules in for them so that when they showed up the next day, they'd have a schedule. Yeah, it was just wicked busy. And then Labor Day weekend, we moved our bedroom. That project is essentially done. We kind of have like that little punch list to kind of the last little things to finish, but the construction part is done, and it was done in time. But it took us until Labor Day weekend to like, Labor Day, we went and bought our bed Labor Day weekend actually, and then got that all situated. But what I want to talk about there is I have a new storage for my shawls and scarves. So in our other bedroom, we had a large walk-in closet, not quite as big as the one in our new bedroom, but I had on the wall like pegboards with hooks. And so if I can find a picture, I know I've got one somewhere, but anyway, they were hanging on hooks in that closet. So that's not gonna work in the new closet because the walls are basically totally angled. I have like literally this much of straight flat ceiling because it comes up, it's like a gambrel, it comes up and then there's like just a little teeny bit. So the whole walls are angled, so I can't hang anything in that closet. So what I ended up buying is a unit, like is it 3 drawers or 4 drawers? I can't remember if it's 3 or, I think it's 4 drawers, 4-drawer unit with like wire mesh. And I folded all of my scarves, so I'll pop some pictures in here. I was very proud that I got all of them in my 4 drawers. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I need anything else because it is full, y'all. It is full. But they're all in there for now. I did weed out a bunch. Earlier in the summer, I weeded out a whole bunch of the commercial scarves that I had that I just wasn't wearing, and so that significantly decreased. And then as I was folding, I weeded out a few more, including a few of the hand knit ones that I just wasn't wearing and I don't really want anymore. So I'll figure out what I'm gonna do with those at a later date. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And then that kind of moving forward brings me to this past weekend was the show that I was in, and it was so much fun. I got a few pictures there of this that I can kind of pop in here too of that. We had just a wonderful cast, 2 wonderful shows. It went really well, and so much fun. But I'm telling ya, next year, if I do this again, this is the 2nd year that they've done a show, and we're all volunteers, but this is like a fundraiser for this venue, and it kind of kicks off their season. So if I do it again next year, which I probably will, I am taking the Monday off after that show because the timing of it with the start of the school year is just really busy. And for me as a school counselor, this time of the year does get kind of busy because the kids finally have access to us again, and so things just kind of bubble. And I kind of had forgotten about that, but it was like this last year too. I just had a lot of things that bubbled like within the first month, and then it just kind of leveled off and it was much more even keel. But so it's kind of been that way again this year, and so I need to make a mental note next year to take that Monday off so I can just have a day to kind of chill. And there were so many times when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna get my podcast done, and I get home and then something would pop up, one thing or another, and it just didn't work. So it had to be in the back burner. It is what it is. It wasn't my intention to take a month-long break, but here we are. If you're still sticking around, I appreciate it. I know this has been probably a slightly longer episode, but hopefully we'll get back on again, a more even schedule at this point. If you've enjoyed this podcast, thank you so much for listening. I will have links down below in the show notes for all of the things that I've talked about, all of my projects. If you subscribe so that you can see when I do post a new episode, hopefully you got a pop-up about this one. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. You can also send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful week. Yes, it will just be a week, or okay, slightly over a week. Have a wonderful week and happy knitting.